This should go in the plier drawer, even though it's a specialty tool. The principle is, or the idea is that everything in one spot. Every plier that I own is here. If I come here and I don't have it, then I don't have what I need. It's not hidden somewhere else in multiple locations. Last year for Christmas, I got Jack a small snap-on tool cart. And I don't believe I put any Allen wrenches in there, so I'll put that in his tool cart. Suspension, this checks sag for setting up suspension. You don't use this very often, but I'll probably put that in with the shop tools. If it's not too tall. Yeah. Funny, I was thinking about this just this morning and where it had gone to. I believe this is for oiling cables. So that should go with the shop tools as well. We have to be careful here we don't start another junk drawer, but I think it fits well in the specialty stuff. These are 2 syringes that I use for bleeding, reverse bleeding brakes on my all my bikes. This is something I actually use quite often. Several times a year, so I'm going to put this with the shop tools as well. I don't know that pry bars are the ideal, that's the location for them. I'd probably rather keep those with the hammers and punches. I think that makes more sense. Try to be logical, you know, so when you open a drawer, what are you going to grab without going through multiple drawers? These are the ends to a torque wrench for torquing spokes on spoked motorcycle wheels. These need to go with the torque wrench. This is a torque wrench for spokes. Actually, I'll show you how this works. This is a really clever tool. Any laced wheel with spokes, these will loosen up, especially if you have a new one and you have to really look after them. If you keep after them and keep them properly torqued, then they'll last much longer and they're less likely to break. Just a quick and dirty, you can tap them. Listen to the tones. The different tone tells you how tight they are, but every couple times a year or so, they've got these ends on this end that's designed to fit over that nipple. And just like a regular torque wrench, you go through and it breaks at the proper torque setting. And then you go through, you start, you skip 2, do 1, skip 2, and you go around, keep going around, round and round and round until you get the exact torque on all of the spokes. And then when you tap them, you could tell real quickly if you got a flat sound or a high, you can tell if it's too tight or too, just quick and dirty if you want to know. Another fun fact that might interest you, if you ride motorcycles in a lot of mud in the wintertime, it's recommended to have a solid disc rotor. Most of what you get on the bikes are going to be, they'll have all the vents in them cut for lightweight. But what happens is that when you get water and mud in there, you can't compress water. And so when you try to squeeze it, it prevents you from getting good braking. So if you want your pads to last a lot longer and have a lot better braking in extreme conditions, always go with a solid rotor. Well, here's my Uncle Bill's sliver getter. These are high precision tweezers for getting slivers out. I would have never known those were in there when I needed them, so I keep a sliver kit in the file cabinet, so we'll put that with those. My supply cabinet, I keep these splinter outs. These are, well, there's what it looks like. They're a sterile, really precision point on it, but they're made for digging slivers out, and they work magic. If you get those in your hands a lot, having these on hands, especially if you have kids, are really handy. So I keep those kind of front and center here in the supply cabinet. We will put those tweezers in here, and then we'll know where to go. One-stop shop for slivers. This is a wing nut for my tire changing machine that I've been looking everywhere for, so that needs to go back with that. The final tool is the one we've been looking for here. I saw a YouTube video of a guy repairing fences, and he invented this tool for twisting wire together, and it was very impressive, and I ordered them, and I threw them in my junk drawer, and I looked for them all summer, and here they are. So I'm going to put this with the fence repair kit in the other shop. Goodness, I don't even feel like I've made a dent. All right, next up, let's separate all of the motorcycle parts. That's going to be a bunch of this stuff, just random motorcycle parts, and either get rid of it or put it in its proper place. Some of this stuff I'm going to need to have access to, and some of it I can, like I replaced I run floating axle on my bike. This was the old one. I've got a big box of takeoff parts, like OEM parts. Like if I ever sell the bike, I can put it back on, and keep my good stuff. So this doesn't need to be in the junk drawer. I'm going to put this stuff in the bucket. We'll put that over in that long-term storage box. I've got, spare caps here. I don't need to keep all these. Maybe just keep a couple of extra, the newer Schrader valves. Keep a couple of the little rim locks. We'll just do this for like tires. These are plug holders for tubeless. And then the rest of this stuff, just not going to keep all of it. Don't need so many. So throw that out. Got replacement fuel filters. We'll keep those. I balance my wheels. This is snow bike stuff here. So for my Yeti, these are replacement clear covers, and then that can go in the snow bike trailer. Silicone sealant. Got old axle blocks here. We don't need those. I wrap my levers. It's nice. This is the road bike wrap, like they put on the handlebars. Wrap your levers, and it's just a nice feel. It's a little bit warmer when it gets cold. So that's something I use. Here's some extra rim strip. So wheel spacers. There's just no getting out of a junk drawer. There's a few things that you just need to have. There's an inflator for small items, and some of this stuff is I need to put on my bike. So, like this is a project here for my Trail Tech mount. Old converter for the headlight. Don't need that because I went to DC. These are the mirrors that Jack and I use in the summertime when we ride on the road. So those will go in I'll put that in our kit boxes. We each have our own Rubbermaid box here. We keep gear in. So these will go right back on the bikes this summer. His and this one's mine. No fork cover, don't need that. This is a fuel transfer shaker for transferring fuel. That should be in my snow bike kit, actually. Glad I went through this drawer before I needed this. This is a pretty vital element. I'm just trying this out, but I got there's a new bag that mounts on the front fender here. It's always a challenge to find a place for all the equipment that you need to haul. And I just put things that are really lightweight, like I got a Spectra toe strap, and then like really thick, bulky cold weather gloves. But I think this will fit. If I can thread this in here, this would be a good place for this fuel transfer line. We're always transferring fuel between sleds and other people. It's always a challenge. That's not very heavy. I don't like to have a lot of weight up on the front fender, so that's just bulky, lightweight stuff. And this is my graveyard of Trail Techs. I broke 4, broke 3, lost 1. I keep them for spare parts. If I do break a screen on the ones I have now, we can use those. And these are all the bases. These plastic bases are no good. I swapped those out for the billet ones. But for parts and if I break plugs and such, I'm going to keep all that stuff. So I'm going to put that in the long-term part storage. Touch-up paint for the blue on the toolbox. Get that in there. This is an upgrade for my carburetor. This is an upgrade that Electron sent me. This is an amazing carburetor. This is the new Billetron. I went to this last year from the old Electron. This is the carburetor I run on my 300. And the guys told me that they've got a replacement. This is the metering rod and slide that gives it more power on the bottom end or something. So that's something when I'm rebuilding the 300 here that I'll swap this out. It just goes inside here. So the throttle cable, these are incredible carburetors. They adjust automatically for elevation. You never have to jet them. So you can run up 14,000 feet, no problem at all. But there's this really clever metering rod system. There's a slide in there. I'll show you here that this piece is a replacement for. Right here. Different color even. So I'm going to swap that out, but we'll get to that on the rebuild. But I'm going to put that over with my parts cart, and then we'll come back to that. All right, what in the world we got here? A lot of this I think we can probably get rid of. All right, let's make this long term here. Old factory steering head. There's a replacement axle nut. Actually, that's a keeper. Good thing to have by. Hose clamps. These are an old headset clamp. This is all long-term storage. These are throttle cams. Every time you get a new set of grips, they give you 3 or 4 of these. I don't need any of these. These are garbage. Put garbage over here. Hardware. We'll just start this with all hard nuts and bolts. Never throw away nuts and bolts. Boy, they're handy. That's a swing arm mount. I swapped out a bunch of my head bolts on my Mako 360 with which holds my handlebars with titanium, and those are the old ones. Extra levers. This would be long-term storage. These are some titanium bolts for my wheel. That's a project I got to put on. Clamps, garbage, double-side sticky tape. Those are for these little gauges. I'm going to keep those. Actually, I need to start electrical right here. These are inline sensors for temperature. I'm going to be putting actually 1 or maybe even 2 of these on the 300. I think this is the right size. These are going to be for a size I don't own. So that could be long-term storage. This is going to be on the cart. We'll do that here next day or two. Plastic Trail Tech mounts. A joke. Put a $600, $700 unit on a plastic mount. That has not worked out in the past. I don't even entertain those anymore. Brake pads with life still on them. Well, I guess we'll do long storage for that. Times could get tough. Let's see, random. Those are for my flex bars, clamps. Never throw clamps away. There's a replacement oil plug. I'll keep that. Sometimes you just got to keep some of this stuff. And a bunch of, I think electrical is gonna Tylenol. Maybe put that in the kit. Just all that plastic stuff. What's in here? This is a mount for the Trail Tech computer, but I think it's the plastic one. But if there's any hardware in there, I like to keep that. Yeah, these are no good. But the hardware they have is quite nice, actually. We'll keep that. It's a pretty good bag there. Throw that away. Replacement antenna for the satellite Trail Tech. Broken temperature gauge, but it still works. I'm going to keep that. That'll go long term. Long term.